I was diagnosed, I guess it was 7 years ago.
I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis in November of 2009.
I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis when I turned 14.
I was diagnosed about a year and a half after I got sick.
One day just had a sudden pain in my lower abdomen or lower stomach.
I probably had it for several years beforehand, but the fact of the symptoms and the nature of having Crohn's, you are embarrassed. You've got to excuse yourself and go find a restroom several times in an evening. First thing you do, instead of figuring out, oh, hey, where are my friends sitting at a restaurant, is, hey, where's the bathroom?
And it came on all of a sudden, and then it came on even stronger after that, and had my colon removed. I was in the hospital for a month.
By January 25th of 2010, I was in the hospital and thinking I'd be there a day, maybe 3 at the most, getting IV prednisone and be in and then be out and then be back on my way to hopefully earn a starting spot in AA and move my way up to the major leagues and my lifelong dream.
My ulcerative colitis just got so bad that I was losing so much blood, I could not keep anything in. I was in a hospital in Lafayette, Indiana, and I was dying. I was on my deathbed.
I just got sicker and sicker, and I was living in the dorm room initially, and then in a house with other girls, and there were 4 of us sharing one bathroom, and it became very hard to hide that something was obviously wrong, and people kept saying, something is wrong with you, and I just didn't even realize. Finally, I got so anemic from blood loss that I ended up in the hospital.
The doctor did various tests, and throughout the next month, they said that I have a fistula in my intestine. So I had to go through a surgery, and throughout the next 2 years, I had to go through 2 more surgeries on top of that because apparently it came back up, and the doctors didn't know why. About 6 years later, I came to the States, and I met Dr. Ashish Patel, who re-diagnosed me as an actual Crohn's patient.
Because I was off in college, I was able to hide it for 5 years, about 5 years. I was able to hide it, and nobody knew I had it. No, I mean, maybe my roommates at the time, maybe because I would never really go anywhere. I would never go on road trips, or I'd just disappear all of a sudden for 15, 20 minutes at a time. And just several times during the evening or whatnot. I couldn't eat anything. I was surviving on a can of chicken noodle soup a day. So I don't really like that soup too much anymore. But I was surviving on that for a day and water. And I had lost about 30 pounds. To the doctor, and they ran some tests, and they did a scope and everything, and the next week I was officially diagnosed with Crohn's. But by then the doctors were pretty much thinking, oh, I think you have this, but let's just make sure. And it's pretty down about it. But not too long after that, I had the surgery. Now I've had the surgery and everything like that, and I don't have as near as many problems as I did then, because I have medicines and doctors that are constantly aware and involved with what's going on, so I don't have to hide it anymore, and I don't want to hide it anymore.
And next thing you know, the doctors coming in saying, you don't have a choice, you got to have your colon removed. And the only thing I can remember is, do you want cut this way or do you want cut this way, so that was a big old stamp in my head forever,
I would have stomach cramps, and I would have to go to the bathroom all the time. I would have a lot of bloody diarrhea. I would be in the bathroom maybe 12 times a day at least, and several times at night. And my stomach just would cramp all the time, and I didn't feel like eating anything. And I got really dizzy sometimes because I would get so dehydrated from losing so much fluids.
I remember looking at my sister Renee and holding her hand, and while I was having so much going on, losing blood through throwing up, and my heart rate was at 190, and the teeth were chattering so hard that you could hear it. My mom had to get a towel for me to stick in between my teeth, and they didn't know if I was going to make it that day, and you know, I remember looking up at my sister, and my family was all in the room, and I remember it was probably harder for them than it was for me, because I believed that I was gonna be okay, and I believed that, you know, with my faith, with my family and everything else, and my positive thinking, that I was gonna be okay. So I remember looking up at her and saying, you know, while she's crying, I'm trying to stay strong, you know, because that's the type of person I am. I try to do things for others, and I remember looking up at her and saying, hey, everything's gonna be okay. Because I knew, you know, whatever happened was for a purpose.
I've been skiing and running, quasi, and I got a job and a date. Since I've been feeling better, I've been able to hang out with my daughter more on a physical level instead of just like laying on the couch and seeing her from across the room. I took her skiing for the first time and she loved it. We've been able to go out to the movies and, you know, go shop or whatever. Just, you know, being able to do anything on my feet other than laying in a hospital bed or laying on the couch.
I've been doing baseball camps, so keeping my arm in shape, and I've been doing ground balls and really helping out other kids at Grapevine High School. And I do that more for the benefit of the kids and the benefit for me. Because I look at those kids and I try to change their lives or make an impact in their lives or their game or whatever in some sort of way.
I have been doing my own tutoring business, so I tutor in most afternoons and evenings children in high school and college students in Spanish and math and science. I spend a lot of my mornings volunteering as a translator for Spanish-speaking patients at a community clinic. And this fall I had the opportunity to speak to an ostomy support group to bring some hope and laughter to people living with ostomies.
No, I'm still running, still being active. Even on days where I don't want to, I still want to do something to where I'm trying to keep a positive outlook on it. You can just wake up and say, no, I don't want to do something. But whether it's interacting with other people, whether it's helping somebody, whether it's helping myself, I always want to make sure that I'm doing something to where I can keep my mind focused going forward.
Recently I got accepted into Emory University and I'll be going there in the fall. My ultimate goal is obviously to become a doctor. I've considered becoming a gastroenterologist. Well, I've been interested in medicine ever since I was young, and obviously now that I have Crohn's, it's much easier for me to give back and for me to reflect on what I've had and what I've been through and to apply that into some other patient and into some other child or adult, and for me to actually relate to them in a way that no other doctor will be able to. About a year ago, I thought of an idea of gathering a group of friends. My idea basically laid the foundation of a charity organization that sponsored dance and non-dance related events that would essentially fundraise money in hopes of providing money to patients and others with Crohn's.
Well, I have been mentoring, helping mentor young kids that went through the same thing that I went through when I was a teenager. I believe that everybody needs to have somebody by their side that are going through somewhat of the same things that you've went through. We are medicine for each other. That's how you give back. And in return, I believe the kids that I'm mentoring, and the patients and families that I'm by their side and trying to help them through their struggles, I believe that they will come back and do the same thing for the next family or the next patient that's battling this. And it's just a snowball effect. So if we all can take that and do the same thing. It doesn't have to be with Crohn's or ulcerative colitis. It can be with any struggles in life.
We can use our strengths to help out others' weaknesses and to help raise awareness for Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis.
The bad things are there, but if you don't focus on those things, they're less apparent and become less evident in your everyday life.
This life isn't the end. This isn't all there is. And my purpose here isn't to be healthy or to have my body work in a certain way, but my purpose is to bring God glory. And I have so much hope in Him and He's loved me so much that I can't help but have a good attitude about things.
Having Crohn's is definitely a barrier in life, but people overcome obstacles all the time. It's something that you learn from. It's something that will eventually make you stronger, just like any other obstacle in life. It'll be tough at first, of course, just like any other disease out there. But of course if you learn how to overcome it and if you learn how to live with it and accept it, then it'll definitely make you twice the person that you were before.
I love my mom, y'all underwear.
Of our glory days, I hate to turn up out of the blue uninvited, but I couldn't stay away, I couldn't fight it. I had hoped you'd see my face and that you'd be reminded that for me it isn't over.